Yesterday, we really made news with that interview of Newt Gingrich.
By the way, it got picked up.
It got picked up everywhere.
The Hill, Politico, Wall Street Journal.
And look, I think because Newt Gingrich was very candid with us and basically gave us a window of what was going on behind closed doors. I mean, Donald Trump's lack of an endorsement for House Speaker Paul Ryan really fueled concerns about now a new lack of GOP unity. Trump and his running mate, Mike Pence, both weighed in. Listen to this.
So I just want to tell you the campaign is doing really well. It's never been so well united. And we started on June 16th. I would say right now it's the best in terms of being united that it's been since we began.
I talk to Donald Trump just about every day, and look, you're always going to hear these inside baseball discussions. I've never heard anything about a meeting of that kind. Colorado, he and I will be campaigning together Friday. This campaign is totally focused on strengthening America at home and abroad.
Can they turn? Is it focused, Betsy? Can they turn that focus and regroup it and put a laser focus on Hillary Clinton now?
There's not a lot of evidence of that focus. I mean, look, Trump has spent the last week or so going after Kaiser Khan and Paul Ryan instead of going after Hillary Clinton. And remember, the unity question, I just find it very unconvincing that the Trump campaign is unified. Look, his decision not to endorse Paul Ryan had major repercussions in D.C., particularly for Reince Priebus. Yeah. Priebus worked overtime to unite Wisconsin Republicans, especially Scott Walker and Paul Ryan, behind Trump because they're so influential. And they got on board. Paul Ryan obviously held his nose a little bit, but he hasn't really gone after Trump that bad. The fact that Trump kind of scorned that loyalty was extremely humiliating to Reince, is what my sources are telling me, and Reince is just absolutely irate about it. That's a hard thing to fix.
It is, and they have a similar situation on the Democratic Party, but the Dems get in line. Right? I mean, the Bernie Sanders supporters are not there yet.
And they had they shouldn't be. The WikiLeaks, what they found, or not the WikiLeaks, the email leaks, that was some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah.
They were ridiculed. They were ridiculed for saying, oh, this was rigged. Oh, they were in the bag for Hillary the whole time.
But they managed
and then
to
it
change
turns
the
out they were right. But then they managed to kind of shame them into silence a little bit. I'm not saying that's a good thing.
Because they changed the conversation to Russia.
So immediately. Immediately flipped it over to,
very smart.
Not to sound too biased, but isn't a lot of it the way, I sound like Donald Trump here, but the way the media reports that? Because it kind of came out and then went away. Like, nobody
media went
really
right with it. Because they changed the conversation to Russia hacked us.
And somehow it was Trump's fault.
That was that.
Right.
No mention of Debbie Wasserman Schultz again.
Right.
Trump says what he says, and the American people are paying attention to what Trump says. We, for example, will carry a Donald Trump press conference. You can hear what he says, and you can base your own opinion on what comes right out of his mouth. A couple things. A campaign built on media, the fact that he talks down about the media so much is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
And also, conservatives have long preached personal responsibility. Well, at some point, you got to take responsibility for what comes out of your own mouth. So I find that funny.
Yeah, and then, look, there was a big money raise in the month of July. They both raised a lot of money, huge. So Trump seems to be doing better in this regard. Clinton raising $90 million, Trump raising $80 million. Your thoughts, Noelle, on that? Is it going to be enough?
That's what I look at. As a national political fundraiser, that's the number that I look at. You know, you can look at the polls, but the polls, I guarantee you, are going to change as we get into this election. But it's very important to look at the money. And the fact that Donald Trump was only like there was a $10 million difference, that's pretty big. And I think a lot of that has to do with now you can see how Donald Trump is going to govern by his pick in Mike Pence. Mike Pence was one of the best proofs of how Donald Trump is going to govern, because Mike Pence was somebody that was not for Trump, endorsed Ted Cruz, and he turned around and he shows a little bit of unity there by picking someone like Pence, whereas he could have picked someone like his buddy Newt Gingrich or his buddy Chris Christie. But there is proof right there, and I think you're going to see Donald Trump's numbers go even up higher.
All right, we'll be watching that. He seems to be Teflon so far, so we'll see if he can get through this latest bump. Noelle Nickpour, good to see you. Betsy Woodruff, good to see you as well. Thank you, ladies.